Good evening, class. How's everyone doing? This is Professor Vasquez from the University of District of Columbia Community College. So this video is for my contemporary police system and problems course. This is week 4 of 6 weeks. So we got 2 weeks left. And this is part 2 of this week's series. And we're talking about problem-oriented policing this entire week. All right. So as always, make sure you're looking at the YouTube video, PowerPoint presentation. Make sure you're going over the literature. All right, and make sure you're looking at over the objectives. Today we're going over 2 articles. All right, first one is by Anthony Braga, Problem-Oriented Policing, Crime Prevention. Second one is the OJJDP, Office Juvenile Justice Department article titled Community and Problem-Oriented Policing. All right. So don't forget what we discussed in the first video. Remember on how problem-oriented policing compares to community policing, how it differs from traditional policing. Remember that really we're trying to identify hotspots, areas where the police department can be more proactive and not reactive, tackling an issue, dedicating resources, working with the community, using the SARA method to identify problems, conflicts, or potential problems for the community. All right. So going on to our first article, right? Problem-oriented policing and crime prevention. All right. So police need to go above and beyond and not just make calls for service, right? So what happens if police just respond to calls for service? Well, guess what? The same people will keep getting charged. The same people will keep getting processed, and the police officers will be responding to the same calls. Right, so that's why when it's problem-oriented policing, we need police officers to go above and beyond to identify those underlying root causes. Right, they should seek solutions and not just calls for service. Right, really intermingle with the people. Right, really get a sense of what is going on. Right, relate to the individuals, talk to the individuals, communicate with them, build those relationships. So again, the police officers don't just keep responding to the same calls for service. Behind every problem, there is an underlying condition, right? Why is it that at this intersection, there is so many, let's just say, accidents? Could it be that one of the traffic lights is out? Could it be that one of the traffic lights is not visible, right? Why is it at this metro stop that assaults, right, and robberies are more prevalent here, but not at another one, right? Is there more security at another metro stop? So these are the things that we're discussing when we're talking about problem-oriented policing, right? Police must gather information and design appropriate responses. Remember, we spoke about response in the previous video. That response has to be tailored to that exact problem, right? Because if not, you're not going to reap the benefits that come from doing your analysis and doing your scanning, right? All right, so we do have social issues, poverty, employment, education, but some things might be situational based, right? Some targets could just be considered soft targets, right? I know that this target is not hardened. I know that this target does not have security. I know that this target is not very visible, right? So as a offender, I can cause a lot of harm, right? So some things are situational based, all right? So there needs to be a situational crime prevention technique, right, in order to reduce the opportunity of a location or person being affected by an offender, right? So this strategy is directed at highly specific forms of crime, right? Again, pick a crime, any crime, right? Arson, sexual assault, domestic assault, and, identify, okay, this is the location. I see that in this apartment complex, it's a high number of domestic assault. What is really going on? Who lives here? Why do domestic assaults don't happen between 8 in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they start to happen around 6, 7 o'clock? Okay, well, who comes home at 6, 7 o'clock at night, right? That's what we're talking about, problem-oriented policing. It involves management, design, manipulation of the immediate environment, right? So looking again at that hotspot, when we're talking about management, we're talking about design. Okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean we need to add more police officers? Does that mean there needs to be just a greater presence? What exactly do we need to get other outside agencies such as CPS, fire department, counselors, whoever, to have a greater presence? increase the effort and risk of crime, and reduce the rewards or potential awards supposedly. So what this is talking about is an offender is going to take the path of least resistance, meaning the more security there is, the greater this target is hardened, whether that be a person, whether that be a bank, whatever. You know, the potential of them being violated will lessen because there's more security that's added. All right, and that's what problem-oriented policing attempts to do. Try to be proactive and harden the vulnerable target. All right, so going on to the next article. It says that problem-oriented policing is aimed at persistent community problems, right? So remember last video I talked about geographical location, right? Whatever that is, whether that could be a street, that could be a corner, that could be a community, whatever that is, we have to identify that. All right, specific crime problems and crime reduction results, right? So problem-oriented policing is different because we are looking at the end product. In community policing, we want to build a relationship with the community. In traditional policing, we're just responding to calls for service. Here, we're targeting those results. We are targeting the fact that we know on this corner that robberies are high. And when we do our metrics again, our analysis again, we want to ensure that we've met that, right? That is what problem-oriented policing is. All right, we've already talked about underlying conditions that we have to identify as well. All right, so some things that come out of problem-oriented policing that differs. We're talking about creating alternative responses. And what does that include? Target hardening, right? Having more security, right? Adding that security system, cameras, sensors, whatever, whatever you have to do to harden that target. All right, reliable information to residents, right? Create intelligence, awareness for everyone to know what exactly is going on. Specialized training for the police right now. We're going through that nationwide, right? Where we're removing chokeholds because we know that, nothing good comes from that, right? Which should have been identified earlier, right? And use community resources, right? It should not be a police department approach. It should be an all-inclusive approach in order to defeat that specific target that problem-oriented policing is trying to defeat. Emphasize end product results, as I just discussed. Community is involved in identifying problems and interventions. So who would be more attuned to identifying issues within the community? It'd be the community themselves. Also, who would be in tune as far as intervention or one of those alternatives? The community members would know that. So it's important to have them in problem-oriented policing as well. All right, so a problem-oriented policing study revealed police can solve problems routinely. All right, and again, these are frontline workers, tactical workers. They're in the community all the time, so they know what is going to work and what is not, right? So the study revealed that burglary was reduced by 35%, and that in the commercial area, it was reduced by 40%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have on problem-oriented policing. Make sure you're completing all your assignments and have a great night. Thank you.